Welcome to BitMart's live AMA session with METIS. I'm Jason from BitMart, and today we have Doug, the Director of Business Development. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us.
Of course. I really appreciate you guys having me, and really excited to partner with BitMart and to tell you and your community all about METIS.
Yeah, in 2021, going into this year, Doug has helped METIS partner with over 50 different projects in the rapidly expanding METIS ecosystem. He spoke at DeFi conferences and helped manage the growing METIS team. After 4 years as a tank gunner in the US Army, Doug completed his master's in corporate innovation from the University of Texas at Dallas, and is well-versed in sales, marketing, and building partnerships. I have some screenshots from the main website. It's blocked off here, but it says right after Ethereum Layer 2 rollup platform. Its mission is to add sort of dApps, DAOs, NFTs, plus people, making up this Web3 economy. And it boasts having low gas fees, fast transactions, native storage, high security, and simple implementation, all on Ethereum. So we want to dive into today how all of that is possible. The rules for the AMA haven't changed. Ask questions, and if your question is selected, it went up to $40 worth of METIS each. We have 4 ways to participate. 2 are on YouTube, 2 are on Twitter. Please read the video description for details. Question 1, could you just start with an overview of the project?
Yeah, sure. So basically, kind of just in 3 quick lines, our entire goal of METIS is to kind of build a whole Web3 infrastructure. So basically, layer 2 scaling. We're another layer 2 scaling solution. We aim to be the premier layer 2 scaling solution. So getting transactions fast and cheap. Obviously, with the rise of NFTs last year and kind of the gas fee crisis on Ethereum, there's a huge need for scaling solutions. But that's really one of our just major value propositions. The other really is DAX, and it's something we're really kind of excited about and what sets us apart from other layer 2s. And I like to call them DAOs on steroids, really. It really is kind of taking the whole DAO idea and expanding it greatly to allow really any business, Web2 business, to kind of transition over to Web3. And I can kind of go into that a little bit later, but basically just kind of getting you into our ecosystem, with the fast and cheap transactions. We've got a lot of benefits for developers too, such as builder mining, which I'll talk about as well. But yeah, we're some of the fastest transactions you can have. We still have the security of Ethereum blockchain, the decentralization. And there's many layer 2s. There's going to be a need for many layer 2s, and we aim to be one of, if not the best layer 2 out there.
All right. Yeah, we'll go into more details later. And I think I've read recently just an article titled that the founder, the person who created PlayStations, doesn't quite believe in metaverses. So, like, your vision of Web3, like, can you provide some sort of real world applications for METIS?
Sure. So, that's funny you said. Web3 definitely is a big buzzword. Same with the metaverse. We like to call it the metaverse. But yeah. When we think of Web3, we just think of the entire transition of the next 8 billion people to crypto. It doesn't have to be everybody with a VR headset strapped to their head and playing around with avatars, but kind of building off of what I was saying earlier with DAX. That's any business, if they want to do payroll, supply chain, anything really that a traditional business can do, they can do it on blockchain and through a DAO/DAC infrastructure, where it's all on the blockchain. It's immutable. It is unchangeable, and really can really speed up some of the slowed down monotonous ways companies are doing business, and the entire world is kind of going to crypto, and it for the next 5 to 10 plus years. We really kind of see that as the transition of Web2 businesses transitioning to Web3. It doesn't have to be all this crazy metaverse stuff. It can be as basic as your landscaping company doing their payroll on the blockchain, and not having to pay these software as a service companies crazy money every month in order to use basic services. And so we aim to kind of provide that with the evolution of DAX, and transitioning businesses to crypto, to see that it's not just about going crazy FOMO and getting 10 times returns. It's the more basic stuff of running a business, lowering costs for that business, making things easier and more transparent.
Mm-hmm. And so how does this METIS token come into play? Could you share like the tokenomics behind it?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Of course. I mean, our tokenomics are actually really, really good. It's relatively basic as well. We've got a really limited supply. So we've got currently we have 2.1 million tokens in circulation. We have a max supply of about 5 million tokens, 4.9 million tokens. And then a total supply, which is over the next 10 years, of 10 million tokens total. And that other 5 million tokens from the total supply to the max supply, that's dedicated to our builder mining program. And the way that works is we kick back about 30% of all of our transaction fees back to the developers and dApps that deploy on our network. So if you've got a cool DeFi project, you've got a cool NFT game, you deploy a DAC and you've got a lot of transactions within your DAC for your business. You're going to get a portion. We're going to share that revenue of the transaction fees with you. So that's a real big value proposition for our layer 2 in general. Like if you've got a project and you're cross chain, you're thinking about going to different layer 2s, definitely give us a try, and feel free to contact me on Telegram at Mr. Doug One, or through our websites. But yeah, that builder mining program is really probably one of our best value propositions just for the developers and projects, because and just kind of going back to our tokenomics, we've got, that's why our price is where it's at, because it's so limited supply. So the inflation too is not bad over the next 2 years, and team supply is only 7% of the supply. So it's quite possibly the best tokenomics I've seen, and I might be a little bit biased, but I mean, just like Bitcoin, we got a really limited supply. What does that do when you have a limited supply? So we're excited about that.
Yeah, 7% to the team is definitely on the lower end. Yeah, comparing to like Solana and like some of the
right.
Yeah. And
real quick, if you did want a really more in depth, I just got to mention this article of our overall project, but especially the tokenomics. A great chart. Messari, who is a big research firm, I'm sure most of your community has heard of them. You go to Messari.io, you can just search METIS. They did a really, really in-depth kind of complete overview, completely unbiased, of both the project, but especially the tokenomics. So that's definitely worth a look as well.
Mm-hmm. And I sort of know the answer to the next question, but just on the security side of things, I know you guys have been audited, but could you just speak to that so our community knows?
Yeah, of course. I mean, with being a layer 2, we've got to be super secure and super audited. We're essentially, our own network. And with that, we have to have the utmost security. So we were double audited, and we just a couple months ago we just completed our triple audit. So we've been triple audited by Hacken, by Slowmist, and Armor Security.
Mm-hmm. And can you tell us more about how long this project has been in development, how it came about, why'd you launch, and sort of just when and why?
Absolutely. So it was actually developed in stealth over the past 2 years. So we're a fork of Optimism, right? There's basically 2 different flavors of layer 2 rollup solutions: optimistic rollups and ZK rollups. And we're a fork of Optimism, and we developed kind of alongside them, but in stealth for the last 2 years. And kind of the story behind it is our CEO. Our CEO is Elena Sinelakova, and she met Kevin while working with Crypto Chicks. Crypto Chicks was a a women's advocacy and education effort that actually spread to 50 different countries. And so they all met through that. And they wanted to kind of come together, use all the resources to, create a project. Through that, they made Yuan Su, who worked actually for the IBM's Hyperledger project. They all came together. They founded METIS. And this was kind of right before the gas fee crisis of Ethereum. And then they were starting to see kind of the vision of really needing, rollups. Rollups were going to be the future. That's how Ethereum is going to scale. And so they kind of set out to create the best layer 2 that they could. DAX were initially thought of. Vitalik did a paper on DAX, I think in 2014. And nobody really ran with it. And his vision is kind of the same vision that we have, is kind of running whatever business you want on the blockchain. And in order to do that, you need to make it easy. And so all three of them together wanted to, and that's probably why nobody did anything with it since. So they came together and figured out, our Polis middleware, which is how you can go into our portal, and with no code infrastructure, you can set up your payroll, you can do your supply chain, you could not really have to know Solidity or how to code and still be able to create your DAC. And so all that's still in development, but it's going to be rolled out in the next 2 quarters. We do have, our staking DAX and our different investment DAX going right now. But yeah, as we roll out the DAX, in addition to the layer 2, that's why we're the premier layer 2, and it's kind of been demonstrated in our crazy rise since our mainnet launch. We launched our mainnet less than 8 weeks ago, and since then we've climbed in total value locked from the number 20 layer 2 to the number 3. We've got more total value locked than both Optimism and Loopbrain. So it's been a great run. The market's really kind of starting to pick up on us and really understand kind of our overall vision.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that explains. I think you guys just came. You guys were in stealth, and then we got questions asking, hey, when was it listed on? Has it been listed on CoinMarketCap? It has been, and it's like top 200 right now.
Yeah, we launched our actual token in May. So we did our IDO in May, and throughout the summer. We had our test net, and then we launched our mainnet in November.
Mm-hmm. And then we have questions just wondering why the name METIS.
Yeah, so I told you about our CEO Elena, and kind of the early history of Crypto Chicks and how it kind of evolved into METIS. So we are a very strong female-led company. We've really all about female empowerment, and they wanted to kind of pick something that kind of demonstrated those values. So METIS is the Greek goddess of wisdom. And you can see her right behind me, and that's our METIS girl. But in our logo and kind of we have some Greek symbolism with the laurel leaves. But yeah, we just wanted to pick something that showed strong, smart, witty female, and I think there's no better logo and name than a Greek goddess. So that's where METIS comes from, and it's everybody kind of gets it. Pronounce it weird. Some Americans like to say METIS, but it's actually METIS.
Right. Yeah, I was going with Métis, or going full French in the beginning.
No, you're good. It took me a while too. I'm from Texas, so
yeah. And Ethereum 2 has been delayed again and again, but it's sort of imminent that it'll launch sometime in the future. So I guess people in our community, and I'm also just wondering, will that sort of make METIS a little less relevant? How do you guys plan to counter that?
Even more so, really. Just like we welcome all friendly competition from different layer 2s. To get the next 5, 6, 7 billion people into crypto in the next 5-10 years, Ethereum needs to scale. All blockchains need to scale, but in order to do that, you're going to need ETH2, but you're also going to need layer 2s. Vitalik talks about this all the time. Ethereum's the main highway, but layer 2s are the side roads and the toll roads, and so you've got to be able to have multiple ways for Ethereum to scale, and Ethereum 2.0 might solve some of the scalability issues for today, but maybe not tomorrow. And obviously we need layer twos for today and for however long it's going to take until Ethereum 2.0 comes out. But additionally, if Ethereum 2.0 scales Ethereum by 10 times, we scale it by another 100 or 1,000 times. So it's overall good for us, because that just makes our scalability and our bandwidth so much greater. I mean, Vitalik even said in his roadmap that we will still definitely need layer twos, even when Ethereum 2.0 comes out. So it might be a race to see who's the best, but it's there's going to be multiple layer twos, you know, and there's going to be side chains like Matic and you know, different ecosystems and different kind of flavors. But you know, that's why we kind of have our unique value proposition. We're building our ecosystem, and we're going to be here to stay in the next, you know, 5+ years. That's why roadmaps is long as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I think layer twos are here to stay. And communities often make or break a project, and you guys have a pretty active community on both Twitter and Telegram. Can you tell us just what's so different about your community?
You know, I've been around a bit, and definitely I'm sure everybody has in different Telegram communities, on Twitter, on crypto Twitter, and I strongly believe, and I have a theory about this, just because we kind of did launch in stealth and we were just on Uniswap. We're starting to now get the big exchanges, but in general, the knowledge level is really kind of on the higher side in our community. They're really kind of loyal. They've kind of, a lot of them have been around, you know, since the conceptual stage, since our test net. We've got a lot of kind of community members that are really helpful to educate and onboard some of the new users as we kind of grow, and we're kind of building this buzz. And the ecosystem that we're developing, there are new projects popping up all the time that are just designed on METIS, different, you know, meme coins, if you're into that sort of thing, excuse me, but also different DeFi projects. And they are really proud to be on Andromeda. Andromeda is our main net name, but they're really proud of the Andromeda ecosystem. They're very active on Twitter. And you guys have probably seen in your community, just you went from who is METIS to seeing it everywhere on Twitter and the charts and everything else. And, you know, we couldn't have done that without our community. We've got, I think, 40,000 plus in our Telegram now, all organic. And I think we're closing on 80,000 plus on Twitter. So, and we've got deep connections in the, you know, from the team's aspect or standpoint. We've got really deep connections in the crypto industry, and the word is spreading to kind of the big dogs as well. So it's growing naturally, organically, but it still has that family feel, and it's really kind of a fun time. So if you're not already a member, come check us out on our Telegram channel, and have some fun with us.
That's great. That's great. We'll include the community channel links in the video description later.
We'd love to meme too. So crypto's a meme powered community, right?
Yeah. You mentioned well, we both agreed that layer twos are here to stay, and you mentioned like Polygon being a pretty major player in that space at the moment. I think they're kind of winning the L2 race at the moment. So how do you guys plan to like break their monopoly in your roadmap, or what differentiates METIS from Polygon?
Certainly. So everyone thinks they're like winning their layer two race. They're not, and I don't want to throw too much shade at them, because what they've done has been, you know, outstanding. What they've built, the ecosystem, the network's great. What's fast, cheap, whatever, but it really technically, not even technically, just it isn't a layer two. It's actually a side chain. It's a, you know, commit chain, and so it is super centralized. You know, there's only, I think 5 of the 8 nodes are controlled, you know, by the team, and you know, that lack of decentralization, you know, was evidenced in the past where they've gone down before. Kind of similar to Solana, like it's the age old, you know, blockchain trilemma, where you know, you got speed, decentralization, or security, and we kind of are really proud of our decentralized roots, and we aim to give by Q4 all of our verifies nodes back to the community, so it's completely decentralized. And so we're just a little bit different than Polygon, and they'll certainly have a future of scaling Ethereum, but if you really want a truly decentralized layer two, then you'd want to go with a true layer two, and you can kind of compare. If you go to l2b.com, they rank all the different layer twos, and they don't even list Polygon on there, so they're still great, and they've got a great ecosystem, and we kind of aim to follow a similar path where we incubate new projects and grow our ecosystem, and get just as big, hopefully not, if not bigger.
Mm-mm. And if I were a project, just as a follow-up question, would I be able to use just both you and Polygon?
Absolutely. So the greatest thing about us, for one, is well, first of all, we welcome all projects. If you want to go single chain and just develop on our chain, even better. But if you want to, you've got a cool NFT game or DeFi project, and you want to go multi-chain, we definitely welcome that as well. And one of the greatest things about what our team has built, and what makes my job super easy in these partnership meetings, is we're EVM equivalent. So not only, a lot of layer twos are EVM compatible, so there are some changes to code that you do have to make, and it takes a little bit longer, to kind of port over. Whereas we're EVM equivalent, it is pretty much a copy and paste job where it can be done in less than a day, and you're now on both chains, or you're kind of ported over. And if your NFT game or DeFi game was on the Ethereum main chain, and transaction fees were killing your users and really hurting the UI or UX, you come over to us, and heck, even on our decks, our swaps are $2 to $3. And going into our roadmap, which we can talk about in a minute, but yeah, we've got some great things coming up in the future that it's going to reduce that even further. So our network's continuing to get better, and it is super easy to deploy on our chain.
Mm-hmm. Great. Last question before we start taking questions from our audience. There's a lot of things on your roadmap. If you could just highlight a few that's maybe really coming really soon, or the big ones.
Yeah, like I said before, we launched our mainnet in October, end of October, November, it's been a great success. Our TVL has gone up. We've partnered with over 50 different projects. We just had our $1 million hackathon, where we had almost 500, maybe 500 plus submissions, which is a huge success. We gave out over $1 million worth of rewards, after the hackathon completed, we've got a huge Q1 coming up. So this quarter, probably the biggest thing is going to be our deployment of IPFS storage. And that is going to allow on-chain data for things such as NFTs or different things for DeFi apps, where it's going to make scalability and speed so much quicker. We're going to bring our transaction fees from the couple bucks that are at right now down to just cents. So that's going to be a huge byproduct of that. And then just we've had our staking program that's gone for the past 56 days. As that kind of completes, we've got so many different deep dive projects for people to ape into, different staking on our NetSwap decks and other partners. So there's a lot of big things coming in Q1. But IPFS storage is probably going to be the biggest.
Okay, awesome. We'll start taking questions from our audience. One person in particular, Gautam, if I'm pronouncing your name correctly, are asking some pretty deep questions specific to METIS. I think you mentioned a DEX that you guys have. He said METIS launched METIS Swap, a decentralized exchange, during its beta testnet phase a few months ago. Why was it launched? Does this mean that you guys will have your own DEX? But I believe that's already operational.
Yeah, so we do. It's called NetSwap. And yeah, you can use it right now. I think they just hit over over 100 million total. They're doing some big numbers. I don't have the exact numbers in front of me right now, but yeah, you do transactions, you can do swaps for $2 to $3. They have staking available as well. They have farming, LP. It's pretty much everything you could do on any other DEX on layer 2. And so you bridge over to METIS, and then you can use the DEX instead of paying 200 plus on swaps for Uniswap. You can pay $2 to $3 with NetSwap.
Mm-hmm. And our next question: for verification and validation purposes, the METIS platform uses the L2 Rangers concept in their MVM. I believe that's METIS virtual machine.
Yeah.
Can you explain how this concept works? Who makes up these L2 Rangers, and what do they do?
Correct. Yeah. So the Rangers. So we have verifiers, just like any other optimistic, and they are obviously verifying that what we submit to the main chain is correct. And then as an added layer of security, we have Rangers, verifying the verifiers. And those will be community members. You stake a certain portion, and if anything is fraudulent and you detect it, then you'd be getting a reward. So those will be community members, and that's part of our effort to be decentralized and give back to the network, to the community. So any community member can become a Ranger or verify there.
Mm-hmm. Our next question is, why are you monetizing your documents and repositories? Don't you think this can be discouraging for interested users who want to get more information about the METIS DAO?
I'm not sure I understand. Monetizing our documents?
Yeah, I'm not sure where this question is coming from, but monetizing your documents and repositories. Yeah,
we're pretty open. Perhaps I'm not sure.
Are you guys like open source somewhere? I don't know how. I guess maybe this monetization model doesn't exist, so I don't know where you got this info from. Okay.
Feel free to message me, and you guys can put my information at the bottom. Any
we'll do that.
That don't make it as well. We're definitely open to helping anybody from the community.
Okay. Going to our next question from MD Shanto. Partners are the most important thing that strengthen ecosystem of different projects. Could you tell us just your project partners and your partnership strategy, if you have?
Certainly. So I don't want to single any partner out. We do, because I'm not allowed to have favorites. Obviously we already talked about NetSwap, our DEX, and got 50 plus partners. They're growing every day. For a partnership strategy, really, we probably have collectively as a business development team and a marketing team as well. We meet with probably, I don't know, 5+ different partnership meetings a day, like crazy amount per week. We don't really have any criteria to have a meeting. Like we're open to talking with anybody if they're already deployed on a chain and they're thinking of porting over for the reduction of fees. That's great. If they're a startup and they just have a concept and they want to learn more about our network, we'll certainly talk to them. We've got $100 million ecosystem development fund in order to kind of stimulate growth on our network. And that's available in the form of grants, investments, basically, if you qualify, you'd be able to get funding for your development. That's a big draw to kind of help stimulate growth in our ecosystem. But basically, our strategy is to be an incubator for the next unicorns, right? Because we're not going to go anywhere in the next 5 to 10 years, but crypto ebbs and flows, and the next unicorn is out there, and it started on some network somewhere, OpenSea, whatever the previous unicorns were, right? They started somewhere, and they had to develop somewhere. So we aim to kind of be that incubator, and we specialize in early stage projects that really are going to have a lot of potential and need the security of Ethereum and the speed of a robust layer 2 such as ourselves.
And our next question, going back to like the L2 Rangers program, if you could just highlight again from Ravindu, how can we become a ranger?
Yeah, so you'd submit an application through our website, and we'd get back to you about becoming a ranger. You'd have to have a certain amount of METIS tokens, and then you qualify.
Awesome. Our last question from our audience from sports school. I think he's just wondering the demographics of your communities, and if you guys have like local ones that they can reach out to.
We do. We have local ones in many different countries. I'm not sure where he's from, but we have a Chinese community. We have a big Russian community. We're big in Latin America as well. So we've kind of got our sub Telegram groups, but we also have an ambassador program through like in-person meetups. We do coordinate that through Telegram as well, but our team is global. We've got members in like 10 plus countries, and our ambassador program is 25 plus countries, and we've got a really diverse community through our main Telegram group and our kind of subgroup. So yeah, feel free to hop in our main group, and we can kind of redirect you to whichever one's more local to you. But we definitely pride ourselves on being a global team, and especially a global community.
Awesome. We're about 30 minutes on the dot. I've definitely learned a lot today. But for more information, read up on METIS at metis.io. The project METIS has been available on BitMart as of 2 days ago. Lastly, you can still participate after the stream is over. Please read the video description below. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, I just want to thank you again, Jason, for having me. We're really excited to be a partner on BitMart. You guys have got a strong community. We look forward to kind of growing both of ours and having a long-term partnership with you guys. So thanks so much for this opportunity.
For sure. Thank you, Doug.
All right, take care.